Taylor, and we got my brother Pedro. We are Leaders Lead the podcast, and also
The X Factor Safety and X Factor FM radio station here, broadcasting live. Reunite the Fight, Battle of the Aces, 4-man Scramble. All right, take my breath.
Oh, you're so good, dude. That's why I passed it out. How do you do that?
You just take a deep breath and then welcome back, X Factor Safety, X Factor FM, Leaders Lead Podcast, Reunite the Fight, Battle of the Aces. Here we are, broadcasting live. We have
Do it
the
6 more times.
Oh,
No, go ahead.
we have the dynamic duo of Liberty Risk Apparel. My man, Nick Umstead and Jason Kyle. Sorry, I had to look at the names, and we just met. We met earlier this morning. Bought a hat from him, thanks to my man Tony.
I think we're family already.
We've already had conversations before we hit the live button. So, want to welcome these guys to the podcast. Let us know a little bit about yourselves, and how did y'all come about to hook up with Reunite the Fight?
So I'm Jason, and this is Nick. Both veterans, both Marines. So we came to hook up with Reunite the Fight about a year ago. So we created our company, Liberty Risk Apparel, and then when we created it, one of the things that we wanted to do was give back to veterans. And how do we give back to veterans? Because in today it's really hard. How do you really give back to veterans? So we do all their apparel. We sell their apparel, and we donate some of those proceeds back to the organization.
Wow. Dude, that's pretty noble. That's pretty noble of you guys. I know a lot of business owners, they say that they give to causes that support veterans, but they don't really do it. Is there a reason why y'all do it?
Yeah, well, one is we're very transparent. So we share what we do with the president of Reunite the Fight. The reason for us is not about us. We both realize that it's much bigger than us. So the more that we can do to help veterans, the more we'll be better as a society, right? That's what our passion is. Our passion is in veterans, and that's why we created this company, was kind of to support veterans, get that message out there. But more importantly, we want veterans to feel connected. We want veterans to see, you wearing one of their shirts, like, hey man, how you doing today? What's up? Just as that conversation piece to talk to each other, kind of like bring awareness, man, because you never know what somebody else is going through. So that's kind of why we started and how we got with Reunite the Fight.
And just to piggyback on that a little bit, Jason and I, we've been together probably for over 20 years now. And Jason actually went to combat. I did not, but he was there and he was seeing, the hooking and jabbing and everything. And it just made sense to, link up with Scott Gatto and Reunite the Fight, especially because what they're trying to do, bring, veterans back together, and, especially all the combat vets. I mean, not all the combat vets, but, especially those who served together in war zones and everything. And it's just great to kind of see people come back and, reunite those friendships and those common bonds that we all share as vets.
Right. So, Liberty Risk, who came up with the name?
Well,
I think he about to take credit for it.
no, I'm not gonna say I take credit for it. I'll say we both take credit for coming up with some bad names. We went through about 4 or 5 name changes before we went out and advertised our company to the public. But the name Liberty Risk, it came after about a year of trial and error, coming with different names and oh shit, we're violating a trademark, or I think
our original name was Blood Stripe Apparel, and if you're a Marine, you know what a blood stripe is.
Yeah.
That sounds pretty cool too. But I like Liberty Risk better.
Yeah. We do too.
I'm glad you do.
And that's what we're gonna stick with for right now.
All right, so that's it. Done. No, I'm just joking. No, and Liberty Risk Apparel again. So what do you guys offer as far as apparel? So again, Liberty Risk Apparel, they're sponsoring here Reunite the Fight. I want everybody to know so that way if they want to come get some of this veteran-owned apparel for their next event or whatnot, what do you guys offer?
So what we offer is like authentic apparel. Our apparel is mostly like clean, not over the top, not too busy. Is geared towards the veteran and that supporter of veterans. You know, you don't have to be a veteran to wear ourselves. You can be a supporter. You can be, you know, I know we throw the word patriot around, but you can be a patriot. Just love this country. Like, this country isn't perfect, but fuck, it's amazing, right? Excuse my French.
No,
No,
you're
no,
good.
no,
You're
you're
good.
good, bro.
It's all good here on the X Factor Safety on Leaders Lead the podcast. We cuss all the time.
man.
Oh,
I think something's wrong with you if you
Perfect,
don't curse.
perfect.
bro.
Yeah.
So now
We're
that
good.
now
We're
that we got
family,
that out
man.
the way, like, I'm gonna drop the F-bombs. Let's
go.
So that's who we are, and the other big thing about us is, like, man, we are not like trying to take advantage of anybody. For us, it's about, you know, like, spreading the message or helping veterans. Like, we've done stuff at, like, basically zero cost. You know, like, we're just passing our costs on to you because what the message you're trying to get out is important to us, and that's who we are. You know, like, we're very authentic. We want to be nostalgic, and we're very, you know, humble and honest, I guess you would say. You know,
Yeah.
it's
We're
who
not
we are.
like Jason said. We're not real loud. We don't have everything plastered on the shirt. Every thread's not covered by ink, so we're kind of subtle. We put stuff on the front, maybe sometimes on the back. We're just here, you know. Hopefully, like earlier Jason said, we want to, you know, generate a conversation, and maybe it's those two war vets that, you know, have that common bond, and maybe it, you know, strikes up a conversation, and maybe that one person is going through something that the other person is,
Yeah.
you know, beyond. Like we heard with. Was it Gunnery
Aubrey.
Sergeant
Aubrey.
McDade earlier today.
Yeah.
Like, he was going through a tough time, and we kind of want to reach those people that, you know, Jason, he's come through a long way from where he was, and you know, if someone were to come up to him, this guy would be the first to help
Yeah,
point them in the right direction.
Let's talk about that really quick, because I know several veterans that hit me up in the DMs all the time, and they're just going through some hard times, whether it's employment, whether it's with their spouses, whether it's just with themselves. They're trying to find their identity. Do you have any knowledge or wisdom that you can give to them, like those veterans that are just struggling right now? Not only just the veterans, but their family members too.
Their family members. Family members get educated what the veterans going through. That's the biggest thing. When I went through my divorce, I later on went through some stuff that they were telling the wives, and I was like, man, I wish my wife would have had that information. It could have saved my marriage. For the veterans, it ain't a pity party. You know, you got to take care of yourself. You got to figure out, you know, a lot of times we don't know what's going on. But once you know what's going on, you got to work at it. It's a job. It's a job to get yourself right. You know, for me, it was, I didn't know what was going on, but the people around me did. And I had to start listening to those people. If I didn't listen to those people, I would probably still be jacked up. I could be dead. If I didn't have my best friends, you know, but a lot of times we don't want to reach out. So I would say, one, work on yourself. You know, find those things that you enjoy, get back at it. I'll tell you a real quick story. I was super depressed, whatever, going to work, going through the motions. And my boss, I was driving to his house on Christmas Eve, and he was like, what do you like to do? I'm like, I don't like to do nothing. And then he was like, what did you like to do when you were a kid? I was like, I used to like hiking and backpacking. So I don't know how he did it, but when I woke up at his house on Christmas morning, I had all the gear I needed for hiking and backpacking. I got back into it. That's where I found my peace. Find your peace. The other thing I did was, you know, when I first got out, you know, I remember a guy was jackhammering at school, and I was ready to go kill him. You know, just like that noise just irritated me so much. So I thought, I have a son, so I thought about my son. Not only my son, but I thought about going to prison. You know, I was like, that was the fear I instilled in my body. So anytime I felt that way, I would think like, dude, you're gonna end up in prison. Your son is not gonna have a dad, right? So I would instill that fear in my body, and that would kind of like keep me down. Cool. So you gotta find those things. You gotta find, you know, like we all know, like, you know, as leader of Marines, like what makes my Marines go. All right, figure that out about yourself. What makes me go? What shuts me down? Figure that out about yourself. Learn yourself. Learn yourself.
And that's really for anybody that's going through
Yeah.
anything, really finding yourself and holding yourself in a sense accountable, you know, and start listening to the others that are seeing from an outside perspective.
Yep.
Yeah,
You know, and I like that you bring that up. So with that and transitioning to the next question, what advice would you give a younger you? And I've asked everybody this, so I want both of y'all to answer singly, but what advice would you give another you? A younger you, I'm sorry.
That's a.
Whether entering in the military or not, you
Take a break?
Yeah, go ahead.
I've been thinking about this. So for me, like I said, I didn't serve in combat, but as soon as I got out, I was very ambitious about, getting my degree and jumping into corporate America and doing whatever I could to make the mighty dollar. But I started chasing the dollar, and I forgot about what I like to do. Like Jason went back and said, what did you like as you were a kid? Think about that. I know, it sounds cheesy to an extent, but it's not actually. If you start thinking about what makes you happy, what do you like to do? Chasing the dollar is not going to get you there. And I would tell any young Marine, as soon as you get out of the military, as soon as you, step foot off the yellow footprints, life gets real. Focus on what makes you happy and taking care of your family and honoring your family and your friends and taking care of everybody around you. Don't focus on the dollar.
Damn.
wow.
That's good.
That's a mic drop right there.
There's a common theme. There's a common thing with you all and other people that we've talked to. It's all about going back to that thing that you love in the beginning before you join the military, because it's I almost feel like when we're in the military, that becomes who we are.
Yeah.
But we have something deeper inside of it. It's not just the military. That becomes who we are. So it's like when we lose that thing, we're like lost.
Right.
Yep.
And I tell you a really good, when I was,
Definitely.
so my last 2 years I did in the Marines, I served at Quantico, Virginia. I was a combat instructor there. And one of the issues that we had was Marines would go to boot camp, they would go to the School of Infantry, and they would go back to who they were too fast. And so they would get back into bad habits, and those are the guys that go UA or pop on the piss test or whatever. And the thing was, like, how do we keep those Marines going down that straight path, right? To get them to where we want them to be. I'm not saying you can't go back to where you were too fast, right? Because
Right.
you're going down the wrong path, especially if you came from a
Especially
path,
if you came from a negative. Yeah.
negative path. But you got to find that happy medium. Like, you got to look at everybody that you see in your life, like, this is the good I want from them, this is the bad. You know what I mean? Like, there's no such thing as a bad boss. Fuck that. It's all good bosses. They could be shitty. I don't want that from them. I want this from them. Vice versa.
Something you could take from
Something
them.
you can take from them. Like, hey, I don't want to be like him.
Yeah.
And that's a good.
Yeah, turn
Like,
negative into
you
a
got to turn negative into positive always. But for me, like, if I could tell the younger Jason something, I would say what I say today. There's always positive in every situation. Sometimes you got to dig deep to find that positive, but it's always there. Find that positive and, go after it. Or stick to that positive. Don't worry about the negative. The negative can consume you, only if you let it.
Wow. That's
Again,
good.
mic drop. That's it. We're done.
We're done. We're done. Damn.
No, that's awesome. So let everybody know where they can find Liberty Risk Apparel. How do they get in contact if they want to place some orders?
Yeah, we have a website, www.libertyrisk, that's RISQ.com. You can find us on there. You can also find us at reunitethefight.org, and they have a tab up top to get to Liberty Risk. You can find us in Southern California. You can find us on Facebook, Liberty Risk, Instagram, at Liberty Risk.
Y'all got a TikTok?
Google.
No, but we need to get a
The
TikTok.
last guy had a TikTok.
Well,
Go get a TikTok.
Bro, I got a TikTok last night.
Oh, I've
get
been
a
had
TikTok.
TikTok for a while. I'm the
TikTok.
veteran in the TikToks, but no, I'm just joking.
You're a TikTok OG?
Yeah.
the problem is my ass isn't good enough for TikTok.
It doesn't have to be.
It
That's the
don't have to
thing.
be,
It
bro.
doesn't have to be. It doesn't have
They
to
got
be.
people
You
doing
got-
like
you got a
serious
pretty
shit on
face.
TikTok.
Yeah,
It's not just,
it's awesome.
Right now,
you
get a bunch
don't
of
just have to
prisoners.
do the Bust It challenge or something like that.
Yeah.
You can give somebody some behind the scenes on how you guys do your apparel and
I'll do that.
apparel talk.
You guys got a TikTok?
Oh yeah,
I just
Oh,
got
yeah.
one last night.
That's
yeah.
awesome.
DX Factor
Well,
safety. Yeah.
Yeah. We'll
I
follow
had
you.
one
Oh.
before, and I got on it, and I just got overwhelmed, bro, because I'm like, I'm not about to be like
All right.
shaking my ass
I'm
and doing
gonna
all
ra-
this stuff.
I'm gonna
But-
raise you. I'm gonna raise you guys up one. You guys send me a logo or image you want a T-shirt.
Yep.
I'll do it for free. I'll send you both one. I'll make my first TikTok on that.
Woo!
Exactly.
All right, y'all heard it here, folks.
That's
right
proof.
here,
That's
X Factor is safety. X Factor FM, Leaders Lead the Podcast. T-shirt challenge over on TikTok. We love it. Again, greatly appreciate you, Nick. Thank you, Jason, for blessing us. You all, folks, will come back here in a little bit with the next guest. Again, we're coming to you live. It's a marathon, so
We're
keep
running.
up. Keep up. We're running. See y'all in a little bit.